You're listening to the Biz Babes with Soul podcast with your host, Melody Spencer, a show where female entrepreneurs get radically honest about life and business. Today's episode is sponsored by Swiftly Social Digital Marketing. Swiftly Social helps people create a heart-centered digital marketing and Facebook ads strategy that gets you results. For a free video tutorial on how to grow your Facebook following by 10,000 or more, visit swiftlysocial.com.
Hey guys, welcome to the Biz Babes with Soul podcast. I'm your host, Melody Spencer, and I'm super excited to have Jessie Kavanaugh here today. So Jessie is a mindset coach, and she loves helping women, especially mothers, really crush it in the business and mindset space. So welcome, Jessie.
Hi, it's lovely to be here.
Yeah, so great to meet you. And please tell everybody a little bit about you and what you do.
Sure. Well, as you said, I'm a mindset coach and mama mentor for mums with a burning desire for more. So I'm in the business of helping women retrain their brains, reignite their passions, and organise the hell out of their lives, really, so that they can create a life and a business that they love, filled with passion, purpose, abundance, and joy. That's kind of my gig at the moment.
Nice. So how did you get started in this? What's your journey like to where you are now?
Right. Well, many moons ago now, it almost seems like a whole lifetime ago, I started doing the usual, uni, getting a job, started in a job that I didn't particularly like. And from there, after about 5 years or so, I just got very over doing it because I thought that that's the only way I could have security and safety and, the house and the picket fence and dog and 2.5 kids, that kind of thing. But eventually decided that being complacent and living a life of mediocrity just didn't sit well with me. I couldn't imagine doing it for any length of time. So from there, I slowly transitioned over to turning my passion for yoga and meditation into a business. And that all started part-time. I was a bit scared to jump all in. I know there are a lot of people that advocate jumping straight in, but for me, it didn't seem possible. So I slowly transitioned into the yoga, Pilates, PT, health world and did that for a while, which automatically led to or rolled into doing more health and wellness coachings. But that was purely from a health perspective more so than mindset. But as I continued along the coaching journey, people wanted more mindset driven. They were interested in their health, but what really was the underlying factor to all that was their mindset. They had issues with moving forward or with not being productive. So it kind of just naturally progressed into more mindset coaching. And then I became a mum myself and realised that I would look at other coaches for inspiration, but I'd find myself thinking, that's great, but I see that, you're single, or maybe they were in a relationship but didn't have what I thought were massive responsibilities. So they were able to just take off and, explore the world or follow their passions with abandon because they didn't have that heavy responsibility of a family. So I couldn't really relate. And then once I realised it 100% is possible to do all of those things with a family, that's when I knew that I had to step out into that space as well to kind of lead by example, to show that it is absolutely possible to do all of those things with that heavy responsibility, I guess, of a family, as you think as a mum that you've got all of this stress and responsibility on your shoulders alone. So sometimes things like that just seem a bit insurmountable.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the journey I took to get to where I am now.
So what did your family think when you were like, well, I'm starting this business and here I go? Were they like shocked?
My husband wasn't at all. He knew it was happening. His only thing was, that's okay, you'll retire me one day, won't you? So,
yeah.
He very much wants to be a stay-at-home dad, so that's our plan for the future. But outside of that, family were definitely very cautious, or they knew growing up that the conventional 9 to 5 probably wasn't my thing, but didn't really think that I would be brave enough, I guess, to take the leap and go against everybody's kind of recommendations. And the advice was well-meaning, but it was just misguided for me. Every time they would say, keep your foot in, because I was a nurse, so keep your registration up, keep contact with the hospitals, all of that, all the just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And that took a while for me personally to get my mindset out of this will probably fail, so I should have a backup plan. So I think that was the hardest part. Was it wasn't so much they didn't believe in me, but they were very old school, I guess.
Yeah.
In terms of, this is just the way it's done. If you want all of the security, which is a bit of a farce these days with how unstable everything is.
Oh yeah.
But I guess that's all conditioning and kind of living through their experience as well. So there was a bit of shock there when I finally took the plunge and cut all cords.
Well, I mean, and parents want the best for us ultimately, and their fear was probably just them being like, well, I don't want to see my kid fail.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And the more I took ownership, I guess, as well, of what I was doing, rather than kind of saying, oh, yeah, I'm doing this thing, coming from that place of conviction of, I'm going to make this work. This is what I'm doing, and boom, boom, boom. Then you kind of give them the confidence as well, and they're more likely to kind of back you and feel better themselves as well.
Yeah. So what do you think gave you the courage to kind of step out and do this big movement or calling that you have to help women and moms in particular?
I think I felt like I had to. I felt once I kind of made that, and it's not one of those absolutely life-changing revelations, like there was no rock bottom for me. The big, seismic shift that happened. It was just, I thought life was too short not to. And if the thing that kept holding me back was the thought that, and it was that old mentality of, this is just not how it's done. If you want a family, if you want safety and security, you just can't do these things. You can dabble probably, but unless you've got your foot kind of one foot in security and the other in following your dreams, it's irresponsible and it's just not possible. And once I finally realised that that's a load of fluff, basically, then I just kind of felt an obligation to share that and to show more lead by example, because you can talk the talk and some people will believe you, but unless you're actually a living, breathing example of what you're preaching, I think it's generally you can just take it with a grain of salt. So I felt kind of an obligation to actually put my mindset my new beliefs into practice. And I think that's what gave me the drive.
So does mindfulness and mindset work go hand in hand with your parenting then?
It does for me. And I know it's not everybody's bag, the whole mindfulness thing, whether it's a time thing or my husband has his own way of kind of accessing that state of mindfulness. It's very, very different to me. Mm-hmm. But I find it essential if I want to do all the things and do them well. It's an essential for me.
So what does that look like for you? How do you parent mindfully?
It's the old cliche of filling your cup first. I know a lot of people preach it, and it was always something that I'd do a massive eye roll with as well, especially the first year or so. Yep, that sounds great in theory, but for me, not so much. But once I actually started meditation is one of the things that if I don't do in the mornings, and even if it's just 3 minutes, that's enough. But if I don't do it, I can become, an irritable rage monster throughout the day, and I'm so off balance. So I start by giving myself some white space before I plug into the rest of the world in the morning. And where possible, I've now got a 10-week-old, so sometimes it's feeding, settling him first and doing my meditation. But it's generally the cornerstone of my morning. And then from there, it's whatever else I can squeeze in. But just being present with my kids, and it's very easy to slip into the whole, this is our kind of daily routine, this is all the things we have to get done, especially when in the back of your head you've got 100 business things to do. But it's really trying to pull yourself back in the little moments, and instead of getting frustrated in having to read the same book for the 10th time when, you in your head you're thinking productivity and all your little ones want to do is connect with you. It's being able to pull yourself back in those moments and just go, whatever doesn't get done today doesn't get done, or I'll pull a few extra hours this afternoon to get it done, because your kids are only that age for so long. So, really just being present with as much as you can. And obviously it doesn't work every day because that's life. But as much as you can, it's trying to anchor yourself more in the moment and realise that your little people are there and they need your emotional connection more than probably anything else you can provide.
Yeah, that's so true. So what do you feel like your biggest challenge has been as, while you're balancing both being a mom and, a business owner?
Yeah, it was definitely and I say balance loosely because I don't truly believe you can ever have balance as they like to define it. But finding that balance, I guess, and to me that looks like when I'm with my kids, I'm truly present with my kids, and when I'm with my business, I'm truly present with that, because I tried the whole 50-50 kind of scenario, and that didn't work for me. There are other people that can get that to work. I think that's absolutely brilliant, but to me it just didn't work. So the hardest thing was time, and with my clients as well, that's one of the 3 massive things that stops them from taking action is time is the first one. It's time, money, and then some kind of fear, self-belief, limiting of you. But it's time and money are the 2 that are always there. And personally, time was probably the one that I struggled with the most starting out. That was my biggest struggle of where do I put my attention, where needs it most.
Yeah, that is a really tough one. I mean, I don't have kids, but I still have a tough time not getting out of work mode to spend time with my husband, because, I love what I do, and sometimes my brain just wants to work, but I realize, no, I need to, shut the door on that and go be present with my spouse. It's tough, but I'm glad that you found some sort of balance to kind of root you in that and ground you.
It's definitely, and as we were talking about before, being in that state of flow, it's so easy to just want to stay connected to that. But if you want a harmonious home life, then it's just, I don't find that very doable. I kind of run my business and life, I guess, on a bit of a structure to make sure that whatever I've done, I can drop, and then I know where I've left it. So when I come back, even though you kind of lose momentum if you stop, I'll always know where I left it off. And that's very much not an old me thing. I used to just fly by the seat of my pants. So it's something that over time I've actually got off my husband, and he looks at me now and kind of laughs, because everything that I told him was, he's spreadsheet obsessed. He's in the IT world. So he's spreadsheet obsessed and super organized, and I used to be this kind of just fly in, get whatever I got done, and then, tra-la-la-la, did whatever I felt I needed to do in my heart and in my gut, and I did that and moved on to the next thing. Whereas now it's, as soon as the kids arrived, that for me, that just had to change, and I had to be more about kind of process and structure, and it's kind of been it sounds boring, but it's been my saving grace.
I'm sure that girl, that fly by the seat of her pants girl, is still in there somewhere, though, because you have to have a little bit of balance in a relationship. Someone needs to be the one who, pushes you a little bit, because that's how my husband and I are. Like, I'm a little bit more like, whatever, it'll work out, and he's like, no, we have to have a plan.
Yeah. Around business, it's plan, and apart from all the creative aspect of it, I guess there's always it's a 50-50, I'd say, these days, but definitely a lot more than it used to be. It's changed my life. It sounds dramatic, but organization has changed my life. And
it's huge.
It's what's made it manageable, and it's not always easy. Some days, obviously, I just don't go to plan at all, and I don't get anything done because of if one of the kids is teething or something like that. Like, it doesn't ensure everything goes to plan, but it provides that structure there for you on the days where things don't go to plan, so you know exactly what you've missed out on doing. So you're not racking your brain thinking, I knew I had to do 100 things, but I didn't get anything done, but I can't remember what those 100 things were. It leaves you there with that list of, okay, well, this is what I can roll over, this is what I can let go. And I think, to me, structure, it's a bit of a weird paradox, but structure is a type of freedom. I think if you can kind of have that support there, have that structure there, it gives you a sense of support and something to fall back on those days where things don't go according to plan.
Yeah, I like that. So are you a to-do list person, or how do you organize yourself?
Yeah, very much a to-do list person now. I kind of do a bit of a, when it comes to my personal life and the things that I have to do, I kind of use a bit of a triage system of, if I didn't do this thing, what would make me the most bonkers? And that kind of takes the top of the hierarchy. Whatever keeps me kind of emotionally stable and present for my kids is one of the top, goes straight to the top of the list. And then when it's business, I follow kind of the strategy of planning your big rocks first. So Stephen Covey's analogy of your big rock. So if you think of your week as an empty jar or an empty container, and you have all of these little tasks which are pebbles, and you have to fill up this container. If you're not careful, you could fill up your container with all of your pebbles and still be left with all of these big rocks, which are your important tasks, which don't fit in. Whereas what he preaches, I guess, is to plan your big rocks, or put your big rocks in first for the week. Make sure that you've got them scheduled somewhere, or that you can work around them, and then fill the rest of the container with your pebbles, or with the things that ideally you'd like to get done, but if they don't happen, then it's not a disaster. And that's kind of how I work the business. So things like the client calls, creating content, and networking or reaching out to clients or to people I want to work with, I guess, are my 3 big things that I have to get done each week.
Nice. That seems like a really good way to think about it. I had never heard that rocks analogy, so I like that.
Yeah, once I heard that, I thought, oh, that's a perfect kind of visual. I can get my head around that. It's not.
Yeah. So what do you love about working with your clients? Like, what really sets your soul on fire?
The biggest thing is seeing the realization of when they realize that it is actually possible for them to follow their dreams, because so often you kind of have that small belief there that, that little voice that says, oh yeah, I think it's probably possible. But then when they see that, even not just from an energetic perspective, but practically it's possible for them, that's probably one of the biggest things that lights me up, when they see that it's definitely more than possible. That it'll take work, obviously, but that they can see that it's something that they can actually write down on paper and make a plan for, and start taking action. That realization, even though it's kind of just the start of the journey, to me that's absolutely huge, because I remember when that was me, and when I would dream for months and months and months of, yep, I'm going to leave my job, and just wouldn't do it because I couldn't see practically. I believed in myself, but I couldn't. There was still the practical side of me that was saying, oh, but how are you going to get around this, and what are you going to do here? So the minute that all shifted, and I could actually see practically as well that it was possible, was massive. So I love seeing that in clients.
Yeah, it is huge, because I just started doing mindset work last year, and the difference it made in my life and my soul and the belief in myself was just massive. Because once you kind of take those old beliefs and say, no, you're over, bye, you become a different person.
That's it. And
yeah,
it took a while for me to realize it's the old saying of, your beliefs are just thoughts that you tell yourself over and over again. And it's absolutely true. And once you learn to kind of rewrite the story that you have going on in your mind, it opens up literally a world of possibility, when you start to finally back yourself, and realize that. I think the biggest thing is, a lot of mums, or a lot of parents in general, a lot of people in general, feel like they have to follow the prescribed rules, and that because it's proven to work for, umpteen amount of people, the old do your 9 to 5, head down, tail up, work hard, get your house, your future will be sorted, that kind of mentality is safe for a lot of people. And they just feel that if they don't do it that way, then, you're setting yourself up for risk. And for a lot of people, it's something that they don't ever see that they could make possible. And so because they think that it won't be, because they won't go to the ends of the earth to kind of make it happen. So I think mindset is one of the most important things to work on when you're trying to change your life. Even if you're not trying to change your life, if you're just trying to better love the one you have, mindset work is absolutely huge.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I feel like I won't shut up about it to everybody. I'm like, have you done mindset work? Do you do affirmations? Do you have a journal? And people are like, we don't care. Stop talking about this.
You will. You'll get it.
If you just did it, you would care. So do you have any advice for a woman listening who might want to start her own business or, get started with mindset work or any of that?
Yeah. So when it comes to, I'll just quickly touch on the time thing, because it is one of the biggest kind of pain points that I see with my clients. Is one of the number one reason they don't take action is time. They tell themselves that they don't have enough time, or more so that they also feel guilty about taking time. They see any time that, and I fell into this trap as well, that any time they focused on themselves or their business, they were actively taking time from their family. So getting over that, the whole I don't have time, is a massive shift to make. And it's, as mums, we don't have any less time than anybody else. And it's a bit of a polarizing viewpoint, I know, but we don't have any less time than anyone else, and we can't actually create more time. So it's less about time management and more about time ownership. Taking absolute control of the time that we do have and what we do with that time is the biggest thing, and not jumping on the busy bandwagon, because another trap we can often fall into is defining how we parent, or even how we're going in a daily life if you're not parents, by how busy we are, how much we can do as well as keep our kids alive, that kind of thing. And it just sets us up for a whole lot of overwhelm and frustration. So, yeah, just taking ownership of your time is an absolute massive one. And the way you can do that is by prioritizing everything, basically. Planning, so doing the whole planning your big rocks first, and finding out your why. Your why is the cornerstone. It's what fuels and supports everything you do. So why is it important to you? And if it's specifically related to delegating your time and things like being organised, why is it so important for you to control your time? Is it so you can have more time with your kids and play and travel and do all the fun things? Is it so you can be more productive, so you achieve more at work or at your business and increase your wage, so you can do things like send your kids to private school? Having your why clearly defined that you can fall back on is massive to help you through the times where you just think, oh, this isn't working, or this is too much effort, or whatever it is, whatever kind of limiting thought pops up along the way. Clearly knowing your why is absolutely vital, I think.
Yeah, that is so true. It really is. If you don't know who you're speaking to or why you're doing what you're doing, you will not succeed as a business owner.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you to work with you, how can they do that?
They can probably, the most high touch way, or where I'm at most, is my Facebook group. And it's called the Motivated Mama Collective. And you can just search the Motivated Mama Collective in the Facebook search there. And that's where I'm probably most active in my group, or on my Instagram. And my handle is just Jessie Kavanaugh _. But I'm pretty sure I gave you the links, didn't I, Melody?
Yes, you did. Yep.
Instagram on the socials is where I'm at usually. Mm-hmm. I have a website as well, but when it comes to connecting and kind of offering my own experience and things, it's a mix between Facebook and Instagram. I'm kind of 50-50 there. I can't decide which one I love most, so I thought I'll do both.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I hope that everybody enjoys hearing a little bit about your life and your business and getting to know you better.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening, and until next time, we'll see you. Bye. Thank you for joining me for the Biz Babes with Soul podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. To learn more about me, Melody Spencer, and the show, please visit swiftlysocial.com.